There are over 115,000 blueprints on the Steam Workshop, so how do you know which ones to download? Well, after 5 years of building in Planet Zoo, I like to think I know a thing or two about the best blueprints to use, so today we're going to look at my top 10 blueprints. Now, I'm not saying that these are the 10 best blueprints ever built, but these are the 10 that I have found the most useful over all the time I've been building in Planet Zoo. We're starting here with a car park by Stanox. Every zoo needs a car park, and this one is a really nice one. It's one of the oldest blueprints on this list, I think, but it's really simple. It's got everything that you need, including parking spots, disabled parking spots, and there's even a nice little island where you can put the name of your zoo on without too much trouble. The piece count isn't crazy, and because it's so generic looking, you can slot it into pretty much any zoo you're building. Here it is in my Wetlands Florida Zoo, which is set in the Everglades. I'm almost certainly going to be using it in our new Alpine Mountain Zoo, which is set in the Alps, and I've used it in pretty much every zoo I've ever built. Now, from one essential background element to another, these apartments built by Cara are brilliant for placing in the background of your zoo. The piece count is incredibly low considering how good they look, and again, with their generic stylings, you can put these in the background of a zoo you're building pretty much anywhere on Earth. And their height means they're visible from pretty much anywhere in the zoo, and they do an amazing job of selling the idea that the zoo is in or near a city, which is something that the standard Planet Zoo maps really lack. You can see how good this blueprint looks in the distance here, and one of the great things about them is because they're so tall, when you look at real cities, they don't tend to have that many buildings of this height in them, unless you're talking in the middle of Tokyo or LA, so you can just kind of scatter a few of them around the map. I tend to use them in groups of 3. And if we take a look at them in one of our zoos here, this is the Moonlight World, which is set in Singapore. You can see how they just loom up outside the zoo and really give the impression that there's a lot of stuff going on back there, even though we've basically just got 3 little blueprints placed down. And they don't just work in Singapore. If we head on over to a European zoo, this is Belmont Zoo, you can see one in the background there, just behind some houses, and then a few more in the distance. And again, it just creates layers of depth to your zoo. And it's not just buildings that can really elevate your zoo, plants play a big part in that as well. And if you're building a zoo somewhere in the world that has large palm trees, or even if you just want to build a zoo where they've planted large palm trees, these amazing trees by Romanopulatious are the perfect way to achieve that. I've used these in every zoo that we've built on the channel since San Bernardino, because there's just nothing in the game that has this level of scale. They're perfect for California, and loads of tropical places around the world as well. Their height means they can be seen from a very long way away in your zoos, which means you can use them to signpost areas so guests see them before they get there. They're beautifully designed, there's loads of different species of palm, each one of them looks amazing, so let's check them out in an actual zoo. This is the islands area at San Bernardino Zoo. We've got a couple of them here, and you can see how much taller they are than the in-game palms, and how striking they are, and what a difference they make to the landscape. Next up is something much smaller, but equally useful for making your zoos look really realistic. We've got quite a lot of decals and stickers in Planet Zoo now, and I'm surprised that we don't have these, because you see them in real zoos everywhere. They are bird anti-collision stickers. They were built by Meleyna, I hope I'm saying that right. There's 2 different birds, and you can literally just stick these to the glass in any habitats that you have where the glass is outside. And that's what they do in real zoos to help prevent birds from flying into the windows. Apparently, if they see what appears to be a bird on the glass, they're less likely to fly into it. If we take a look at them in one of our zoos, here they are on the cheetah habitat at Belmont Zoo. They're recolorable, as you can see, and they just add a little touch of class to this viewing window here with very little effort, which is always good. Next up is something that will save you a lot of effort. This is an entire coffee shop built in a modular fashion by the incredible Toves, one of Planet Zoo's best builders in my opinion. It's got everything you could possibly need in a coffee shop here, from an incredible looking coffee machine, signage, packets of sugar, mugs, counters, tables and chairs, stools, menus, literally anything you could possibly need. There's even some serviettes here, which is crazy. The detailing is unbelievable, and because it's modular, you can basically just take these pieces and build your own coffee shop to fit into whatever area in your zoo you want to build it in, without having to do any tricky building of crazy things like this. You don't just have to use it for coffee shops as well, it's equally good for restaurants. Again, I've used this in most of my zoos. Here it is in Belmont Zoo. Used it in San Bernardino Zoo as well. Sometimes I like to just use the stools because they are such a nice little build. They fit in nicely anywhere. Those menus look amazing as well. Works outside as well, as you can see here. Definitely one of the best blueprints of all time. Next, we have a blueprint from another one of Planet Zoo's greatest ever builders, PS Vision Gaming. It's his playground equipment set. This is another very detailed modular build that looks absolutely amazing. The blueprint comes with a complete kids playground that you can basically just plonk down anywhere in your zoo and everything's done for you. Look how amazing this little bouncer looks. But the blueprint also contains the separate pieces in a modular fashion, so you can build your own playground to exactly fit the space that you have in the zoo, or simply to make it look the way that you want it to. The wooden construction is really cute. It's a really attractive playground. You can see all the different bits of it here. So many different things that you can assemble together. And another great thing about it, if we look at it in Belmont Zoo here, is that it is completely flexi-color. So you can change the wood to be more of a dark wood like this if you prefer. The tops of all the rides and slides can be changed to whatever color you want. So you can really sit it in nicely with your zoo and make sure that the color scheme matches along with everything else. I've just realized those swings are built out of the directional signs. That's so clever. All right, let's move on to the next blueprint. The custom feeder set by Leader contains just about every herbivore feeder you could ever possibly need for your zoo, and the detail on these is absolutely incredible. I think this suspended feeder here might be my favorite. This is an older blueprint now as well, so it's even more impressive they managed to build it to this level of detail without some of the newer pieces that we have in the game. But you can see we've got wall-mounted feeders, suspended feeders, little feeding trays for indoor habitats and off-show areas, freestanding feeders, and built with a mixture of wood, metal and mesh. Fits really nicely into ultra-modern habitats and more retro and lower budget habitats as well. You see the full scope of it here. Each one of them is a little mini work of art, and there's about 20 of them for you to choose from. I'm assuming the feeder on the right is a giraffe feeder. It's absolutely massive. If we take a look at it in one of our zoos, I've used one of them here at the Wetlands, Florida for this capybara habitat. This one was flexi-color, so we could fit it nicely into that building there. The next blueprint is something you basically can't build a modern zoo without, and that is Mudwalls. These are Zoove's Mudwalls, one of the original and still the best Mudwalls in the game. They are a real pain to build yourself, made up out of the stalactite pieces and some of the faux tree trunks. They're fully recolorable, so you can make them into pretty much any type of mud or rock that you like, depending on how you color them. And because Zoove built them so tall, you can use them for towering walls like this, or sink them way down, use them for little walls, anything from tigers to meerkats. You can pretty much keep using these walls, which is very useful. I used one of these when we first started San Bernardino Zoo, and I've been basically improving and modifying it ever since, and it's turned up in more builds than I can count. Here it is at the Amazonia build, with the addition of a few roots and a slight colour change, gives you a really South American feel. Now, who's this on the horizon? This little dude is one of the most useful things anyone has ever built in Planet Zoo. I've used it in pretty much every build I've made. It is, of course, the Angry Vendor. An exact replica of the peeps in Planet Zoo, exactly the right size, exactly the right proportions, and it is completely invaluable for scaling and sizing up your habitats and your sight lines. You can see me using this every week on the channel. There isn't a zoo or probably even a habitat we've built that this guy hasn't featured in at some point. It's almost a shame to remove him once you've finished using him. And that just leaves us with one more blueprint. Lion's Info Signs pack. Where would we be without this pack? Similar to the Angry Vendor, I use these in pretty much every habitat that we build on the channel, but the difference is we don't have to delete these ones or when we're finished. There are more signs than you can count in this pack in so many different styles: wood, metal, retro, modern. The detailing is impeccable. They are super tasteful, incredibly realistic. You see signs like this in almost every zoo that you go to, and the way that Lions put the pack together, it's really simple to change colours in the signs so they fit perfectly into your zoo. There's even some shapes with various different continents, so you can add easy signage to habitat areas as well. This is basically so many things that should be in the game in the first place. I've got no idea why this kind of generic normal signage isn't in the game, but thanks to Lion, we can have it ourselves now anyway. Because they look so good, you can just put them straight into your zoos without needing to change them. But if you want, you can also customize them to exactly fit where you're putting them. I've got 3 of them next to each other here, creating an info display above that bullfrog you can see there. I've got one of them unchanged here in a pygmy hippo habitat as a really nice kind of freestanding sign, and then a modified version of one of them next to it with the actual animal on it. And then I've got little bits of them here customized with pieces from the Americas pack. And that is the top 10 blueprints. Every single one of these blueprints is linked in the description below, so you can go and grab them yourselves. Thank you to all the amazing blueprint builders. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next week for some more Planet Zoo. Bye.